Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Plays Games, the podcast where we celebrate women in the video games industry. I'm your host, Lauren, and I've been working as a journalist and content creator in the games industry for the last 10 years. On my show, I have a chat with women of many different roles in the games industry, whether it's journalism, games development, or even streaming. My goal is to give visibility to the many women in video games with the hopes to inspire a new generation of women in gaming. Before today's episode, I'd like to give a big shout out to our SPG Patreon supporters, Jean Leggett and Leah Dungay. Thank you so much to you both. By supporting the SPG Patreon, you're helping me to grow SPG even more and covering the costs for things like hosting and transcriptions. At the moment, I only have one tier, so you can donate what you like to the show, and hopefully in the future I can open up additional tiers and hold more initiatives like the SPG 100. Also, anyone who signs up will get a shout out like this on future episodes and in the episode pages. If you'd like to check out the Patreon for yourself, it's patreon.com/sheplaysgames. On today's episode, I'm speaking with Dani, also known as Ebonix. Ebonix has been playing The Sims since it first released over 20 years ago and has grown to become one of the most influential simmers in the world. As part of this, she's taught herself how to 3D model and has become a strong advocate for representation within the game, even working with EA on some recent updates. I really hope you enjoy listening to Dani's story, and if you haven't already, please be sure to follow me on your chosen platform. This is episode 40 of She Plays Games. Thank you so much, Ebonix, for coming on the show.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
I mean, you've had quite the freaking ride so far as, the first Black female Twitch ambassador.
In the UK, yeah.
And then have your face show up in freaking Times Square, which is just like anybody's dream. That is like you've made it, being in Times Square. That's awesome. Did you ever think that The Sims would lead you to this?
No, not at all. It's not even it's not even something that you'd think would ever be the reason that you'd even be on a billboard. You know, I've been playing The Sims for 21 years. So as long
it's
as
been that long.
Around. Yeah,
oh, jeez.
Yeah. It just turned 21, and I've been playing it for as long as it's been about. And you just never think that it was my love for it and what I've done for it would, take me to such great heights.
Yeah, but I mean, that is the thing. You've given such nice representation for people in just people can see themselves in The Sims, and that is such a wonderful gift that you've given to people.
And again, it's not something that I had set out to do, but once I did, I kind of found a lot of purpose in doing it. So yeah, it means a lot to have been able to change the game for so many people around the world.
Oh. And I remember you saying that you actually first encountered The Sims when you were out with your mom and you were at the W.H. Smith's, which in America, I guess is the equivalent is I don't
Hudson's
know. Yeah, that type of thing. And you didn't actually have a PC yet, but you were just like, Mom, we're getting the PC and we're getting The Sims. I mean, when you picked up the game and you actually could play it for the first time, was it what you expected it to be?
From what I remember, no. I didn't know what to expect. I just saw that there was little people on the box, and I'd never really played anything quite like it. Because I was used to console games and stuff. So I thought, is it going to be something like what I've played on the console, like my PlayStation? But it wasn't anything like what I expected. And but it allowed me to be really creative and make really big families, because I'm an only child. So being able to make sim families with lots of kids was something that I was just dreaming of. I was like, wow, I can make a big old family with loads of kids and live their lives out, and yeah, it was really cute.
It must be an only child thing because I did the same exact thing. Like I just was
Yeah.
all about the babies. Just have 100 kids. That's fine.
That's absolutely fine. We'll manage. Doesn't matter how, but we'll manage.
We may have bottles everywhere. We may have dirty nappies on the floor, but it's cool. No one cares. It's fine.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Oh my gosh. And like back in the day when you used to have just like the bassinets that would just appear after you kiss someone. It's just
I know, right?
so weird that we've come from that
to where we are now. Yeah, I've got the bump and everything. I loved the
know.
transition to The Sims 2 as well, though, when we got the bumps.
Yeah.
And it would bump up every day. Yeah, I loved that.
I still remember when we first had like the screenshots of The Sims 2 and like you saw that you could actually be pregnant. And I still to this day remember that trailer for the Generations trailer where it's like a dude and he has his wife and they're like going through the like getting married and then sending their kids to university and stuff. And like, I just
that trailer's iconic though, really.
It so is best trailer.
It showed how much of a leap that they took from the original Sims to The Sims 2 because it's a completely different game at that point.
Yeah, completely new experience. I mean, did you have like a favorite family or did you primarily like making your own families?
Are we talking about throughout like the entire series? Or
I guess so, yeah, because there's been like quite a few now, haven't there?
Yeah, I've always liked just making my own, but then incorporating the pre-made families into like whatever stories or drama that I've got. Or like I'd always have like a set few that would be my donors, like my baby makers. The ones that I would choose if I was to ever start over a world or something. Like I'd always have a set few who would be like, okay, you're the one that's going to make my baby because I know you're going to make pretty babies.
I love it. It's like sperm. It's like a weird sperm, like surrogate situation with the Sims.
Absolutely. I knew exactly who to go to. I didn't care what relationship they had at the time, story progression what situation had put them in. I knew that they were going to be the donor.
Yeah, exactly.
I was always making my own though. I couldn't ever really play a pre-made except for Bob and Betty Newbie because you kind of have to get used to the game in the beginning. Yeah. But after that, I used to just go for my own thing.
I mean, like, can you find a more iconic freaking family? I almost, there's days where I sort of think like I would love to go back and just play The Sims 1 because it was just so simplistic but I know that there would be things that would drive me crazy, like the fact that you don't have like anything. But
just for nostalgia purposes,
I know, absolutely. And so with regards to what you do custom content, and being that you're half Nigerian, half Bayesian, you said that you started making custom content to see yourself and bring your heritage into The Sims. So which game did you sort of start exploring the world of custom content?
So I would probably say as a consumer, so like as a user of custom content, I think around The Sims 2. And then as a maker, The Sims 4. So The Sims 2, I used to read like a lot because people used to make really cool stories online. And I'd see that their Sims looked like amazing because some people used to make some really dope like skin tones and stuff. And I was like, whoa, how can I get my Sims to look like this? Because I wasn't making Sims that looked like me at all because I didn't have the content for it. And I was quite late into The Sims 2 finding custom content, but once I did find like some really nice skin tones, clothes, a few hairstyles here and there, I was all over it. I was all over it.
I still remember like there was a lot of paywalls back then for custom content from what I can remember. Like I remember being a lurker on the website quite a bit. And like if you wanted certain things, like the really pretty stuff, they were just like, nah, you have to give us money. And like at the time I was a kid with no bank account and like no confidence to go to my dad to be like, can you buy this for me?
Right. No, I don't. Do you know what? I don't. yeah, of course, I wouldn't have ever paid for anything because I didn't have the account to do it.
Yeah.
But what I could find for free, oh, I was all over it.
Yeah.
I was all over it.
I think that's like kind of the nice thing though now about like with The Sims 4 especially is the fact that there is it's so accessible to find new content and stuff.
Yes.
I remember you've also said that you've actually started using programs like Blender to actually like make your fabulous hairstyles in The Sims. I mean, did you ever consider becoming a 3D artist?
Never. I've always been computer savvy. So that's one thing that I know for sure. Like I've always been about computers and I loved it. And my mum has always said, like, I don't know why you didn't go and study like IT, like information technology and computers and stuff. So I have like a psychology and counseling degree. So I'm a psychologist by trade. All of my past work experience is within like the special educational needs field and disabilities field and social care field. So none of what I've studied, learned, and prepared, set up my adult life for was ever meant to be about 3D modeling and gaming because I never thought it was an avenue that I could go down.
I think parents are often like that. They're just like, why didn't you do this? And we're just like, well, because I didn't want to.
Yeah, I know. And it's the thing is, I don't think I've ever just been deterred from doing it, but I always thought I was supposed to do something like, you know, psychology or law or, you know, like medicine or well, you know, all of those really high paying, high profile type of jobs. And I've loved games forever, but I didn't see a career in it because also that, you know, you don't see many people who look like you, especially back then, who was in that field. For me to be like, oh, look, there's a Black woman who's doing this. I can be just like her. So now that I'm in a position to do it, and I've taught myself pretty much everything, albeit a few YouTube tutorials and a few tutorials on like the Blender resources page. Everything that I've pretty much learned has been self-taught. So yeah, it's absolutely not something I ever considered I'd be doing ever, but I'm glad I did.
I think that is such an important thing as well, is that like, and that's sort of why I started my podcast as well, is because like, yeah, back in the day, never did I ever think that you could have a career in games, mainly because like, I guess that's the thing, like your parents always want you to take this sort of safety route or encourage you to go to safety type of roles and stuff, roles where they know you'll make money and you'll have a happy life. And like, yeah, not being able to see other people growing up doing the things that you actually could have probably like done, you know, it was just, it like to be seen and to be represented is just so important.
Absolutely. And so it's like, it's another, like it's sending a message out to my younger cousins because they always ask me, what do you do? Like,
no.
I'm a gamer. I play games.
Yeah.
Like, for a job. Yeah.
Oh, I love
for
it.
A job.
How old are your cousins?
Oh, they're all pretty young. So like 17, 12, 9. I got twins who are about 5. And I've got a goddaughter who's 2. So, you know, there's lots of little people around me who I really want to inspire to just go with their heart and do what inspires them and their passions.
Do any of them play The Sims?
Yeah, the 17-year-old, she is obsessed.
Oh, I love it.
I think I built that obsession up in her. And,
I did it. That's me. That's my influence.
And she's always like that, you know, Ebonix is my cousin. Did you know Ebonix is my cousin?
Oh, that's so nice, though. That's so nice. Oh, that's really lovely. And I mean, so previously we actually interviewed a woman named Kim Belair, who started Sweet Baby Inc., which is a company that helps make games that are inclusive, primary from a like sort of narratives perspective. But considering what you do for custom content, it seems like there's a real need for visual inclusivity as well. Do you think we'll be seeing more of these types of roles in studios?
I would like to hope so. I think that would be a great direction for studios to go in. I mean, even just the game that I played today, the most disappointing thing was the lack of skin tone variants, like variations. So there were 5 skin tones, and the darkest one was it was really ashy and it just didn't look good. And it's like, but then they had about, 15 different colors for hair, and there was about the same, about 15 different eye colors.
Yeah.
And then you could even have like heterochromia, but coming down to like skin tone, there was only 5 options.
Yeah.
And I think, that it just, I see it still in a lot of games, and it definitely needs to change. So I think that with, that role of coming from a narrative perspective and being more inclusive, we really do need to see that from a visual aspect as well. So that's, I'm open for people to approaching me for consultation. I worked with the Sims team on the update that recently came out in December. So that they released a patch that patched in over 100 skin tones.
Amazing.
And, the idea between having undertones as well, so like the cool, the warm, and the neutral, it made such a difference to how, different skin tones are and undertones are represented. So I think just even from having simple guidance from people like Game Changers, it made such a massive difference to the game. So I do hope we'll be seeing more of these type of roles embedded into studios.
No, I think so too. I mean, yeah, in this day and age, to have only like such a small amount of skin tones, I mean, I guess it was the most disappointing thing going from like The Sims 3 to The Sims 4 is that like we had like a freaking color shader in The Sims 3, and you just sort of think like, why can't games just get that? Why can't games just like just give us something to just be able to make ourselves? And but
it's supposed to be going forward, not backwards.
Exactly. But no, and I think that is the thing as well, is making these companies aware of that as well, is like, so maybe eventually they'll get the message and they'll start hiring people to sort of represent, to help them. But I think that would be amazing for you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of, in a way, not the end goal, but one of the goals that I aspire to get into, which is consultation for studios about how inclusive their games are being and representative they're being.
And that's another role like that, you never would have thought like 10 years ago could sort of exist in a company, but there definitely is a demand for it, especially nowadays. I mean, there was a demand for it 10 years ago, but
absolutely, that part too. I mean, my friend told me that in 2035, at least like 35 of the jobs then haven't even been created now. So, there's so much room for building your own role and creating your own role within an industry, within this industry especially.
Yeah, because this industry is still so new. Like, it's still such a baby industry that it just hasn't, like it's still finding itself, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We were actually having a conversation today as well, in this sort of lunch club about how, like, and it made me sort of realize, like, just how progressive, like, we obviously we're not perfect by any realm of the imagination, but like how much further our more progressive side is in comparison to like other industries. Like, you think about like sort of some other avenues, like sort of generic jobs, so to speak, like, like working at like a marketing agency and stuff. Like, there's a lot of people outside of games, obviously. There's a lot of people who still don't really fully understand what's going on in our world in terms of like the need for representation, the need for people in senior roles, and the value in having more voices at the table. And like, it's really, I feel like we put the games industry on such a like there, we set like a really high bar because we have to be like, we are kind of the trendsetters of the rest of the world, really. Like, do you find that?
I think so too. No, absolutely. Because I don't think people realize how impactful and influential gaming and games are on the world. Pretty much in every household, there's a console or a PC, and pretty much in every household, someone's playing games.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you take that into consideration, that it's literally impactful in every household and around the world. And how you make these games has an impact on the person playing it. So yeah, absolutely. Gaming has an insanely huge influence on other industries, because it's also about how gaming can branch out and tap into them. Because I'm thinking some days I don't always just want to be about gaming. I want to be about makeup. I want to be about tech. And I see there are some makeup organizations who are tapping in to the influence of gamers. And yeah, it's really dope to see how influential we are.
Yeah, like the color pop stuff with like Animal Crossing and that type of thing. Like, I want more of that.
Absolutely. I would love to see more like influencers of color promoting these kind of things as well, because that's also another issue.
Yeah,
you know, different brands not tapping into all different types of influencers who have an impact within their own communities as well.
100%. And I actually have a question from Discord. Our first one is from Mia Janae Watkins, who asks, she's amazing, isn't she?
She is.
She's so lovely. I love how bubbly and happy her personality is, and her voice. Like, she's just amazing. And she asks, what other Black hairstyles would you like to see or create in The Sims that haven't been created already?
I would love to see more like braids, so like long braids in The Sims, more braided updos, more quite like curly hair. So I know it's difficult to make curly hair.
Yeah.
I know that from personal experience.
Yeah.
But it's been done and it's been made. So I would love for them to be able to make some more content like that. And I guess quite, some more like sleek hairstyles as well. So, the ones that's been slicked down with the got-to-be glue. And yeah, so just being a bit more with the times and not so dated. But I guess at the end of the day, they do want it to be usable for everyone. But you still want something that represents the kind of time that we're in.
Yeah.
So I would love to see more timeless hairstyles, such as quite long braids and locks, but also hairstyles that are for the current time that we're in.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess that's the thing, like, making it accessible for everyone. And I think you have such amazing, like, there's such a long line of incredible hairstyles by Black women, especially, and Black men as well. Like, I mean, like being able to have the like sort of shaved back of the head type of design. I don't know what that's actually called because I'm not a hairdresser and I suck.
But the tapered braids would be nice.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's a plethora of just of like a catalog of hairstyles there that they could easily sort of tap into. The braids are amazing. I mean, I don't know much about, do they have like the little kids like sort of hairstyle with the adorable little bubble ties?
I think they've got one hairstyle like that.
I used to love that.
Yeah, and I've got quite a few kiddie hairstyles that have like bubbles and bows and stuff.
Oh, I love that. I used to
Yeah,
always love seeing my friends with those, with like the little ties in
these
their hair,
bubbles.
and oh, it's
Hmm.
so cute.
Really cute. Hmm.
I watch a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race, and Olivia Lux came out with that hairstyle, and I was just like, oh,
Oh wow.
that is every little girl that I like grew up with, you know?
Oh, taking me
So cute.
back.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's so adorable, but yeah, no. Get
I would
on
love to
it,
see that in
Sims.
Sims as well.
Get on
Hmm.
it,
I got
Sims.
all the info. All the info's there.
Exactly. And then we have one more from Taya, who's also really, really sweet. And she asks, what advice would you give to content creators who are just starting out?
So my advice is always about finding your niche and finding out what is it about your content that makes it original to you.
Mm,
Um, it's it's a difficult concept and not one that you can, I guess, come up with overnight. But once you do find your niche and once you do find what it is that sets you apart from everyone else, because this is a big pool and there's a lot of fish in here.
yeah,
What can make you stand out from the crowd? And it's, yeah. So finding what makes you you and always only worry about what's going on in your lane.
mm,
Don't worry about everyone else. Just focus on you, focus on your craft, and focus on your grind,
mm.
and you will literally excel. Because worrying about everyone else is not going to do you any justice.
No, I mean, that's so true. There's some days where I just go on Instagram and I'm just like, I am feeling really low right now about all of my life choices.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Absolutely.
that's so
Surround
important.
yourself with people, I think, as well.
Mm,
Sorry to cut you. Yeah, surrounding yourself with people who are also on the same kind of journey as you.
mm,
So it's not to say that you're watching them, but rather as like a support system.
mm.
So I think people who are on the same journey as you, trying to find themselves, trying to find what makes them them, supporting each other so it's not such a lonely experience as well would be really helpful. So
Absolutely.
building a community.
Yeah. A community of happy positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so yeah, I mean, considering how The Sims 4 sort of released, leaving much to be desired when it first released, I just wanted to know, like, if they announce The Sims 5 at some point, what would you want to see?
Essentially, I would like to see the creator sim from Sims 4,
Mm.
open world of Sims 3,
Hmm.
and gameplay of Sims 2. All meshed into one to make Sims 5.
Yeah.
That would be my ideal Sims game
It's
because
something
I
that's,
love open world.
yeah. It's just so weird about The Sims 2, isn't it? Like, we always go back to it as Sims fans.
Mm-hmm. Because the gameplay in it is incredible. The mechanics of The Sims 2 is so iconic. Like
Mm.
no other Sims game can top it. The
Mm-mm.
gameplay is just surreal, even down to like relationships and stuff. How it wasn't always so it's not mutual. So
Mm.
like you could love one of your Sims could love one other Sim off, and the other Sim could completely hate them, and that's realistic.
Mm.
So there was so much realism within The Sims 2 that just got lost and missed along the way, and completely gone come The Sims 4. But recently, I think in the news is that EA is giving Maxis like free reign of their game now.
Oh,
So they're
yes.
no longer kind of stuck to make things that EA says they have to make. They have got kind of free reign to be as creative as they want with their packs and with the future of The Sims. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what The Sims is now going to look like now that they're no longer under EA. Because I think they realized that when it came to like Journey to Batuu, which was the
Mm.
Star Wars,
Oh my
The Sims
God.
2,
Oh
they were
no.
forced. Yeah, they were forced to make that because they're under EA and EA has the rights to like, Star Wars games and stuff.
Hmm.
And you could tell by the response from the community that it's just like, what are you even doing? You're not listening to your players.
No.
And yeah, so that was recently announced. So I'm looking forward to seeing now that they've got free reign, what is going to be coming out.
Oh my gosh, I so agree with that. I mean, I think also like for me, the storylines in The Sims 2, like the fact that they were all kind of set up to start with,
Mm-hmm.
like that made
Mm-hmm.
it such a fun thing to play with. Like I used to always play as I loved Strangerville and I loved the little alien family in that
Okay.
and the little alien boy, I think the other girl's name was Ophelia, the one who had the mom who had like suspiciously maybe murdered her husbands.
Oh my God. Yes. Do you know what's crazy? I literally made them in The Sims 4 so I
Did
could play
you?
this. Yes.
They're so
I
good.
loved Ophelia and it was Ophelia and Olive? And
Yeah.
yeah.
I always used to pair them up because I just loved them together.
Who, Ophelia and Olive?
Or sorry, no, Ophelia and the Ophelia and the little alien dude who I can't
Oh, the
remember what his
alien
name is.
boy. Yeah.
Yeah. I always used to make that my love story because I just thought they were so cute.
Oh.
But then I was really weird that I really loved the alien people in 2. I don't know why. I really loved them.
It's different energy. I can't even
Yeah.
remember what the aliens are like now in The Sims
Oh
4.
no, they're really
The alien in The Sims
strange.
4.
They're in there, but like they gave them these weird bodysuits that they can't really take off from what I can remember. And like
Oh, they
they,
transform. Yeah. They
yeah,
transform their forms as well. Yeah, I
yeah,
barely play aliens.
I
I really
know. But it's weird how like The Sims 2, yeah, like for some reason with The Sims 2 mechanics and how they made it work, you felt like you wanted to explore that. Whereas like now it does feel that way where you're just like, nah, I'm okay. I don't need that. I'm fine. I don't need to be impregnated by aliens right now. Sorry.
Right. It's true.
What's your favorite expansion pack from The Sims 4 so far?
Ew, good question. I think my favorite expansion pack is University.
Yeah, it's really interesting what they've done this time, hasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little, not little, it's quite buggy.
Yeah.
It's quite buggy, but I think just what it added in terms of like, what the Sims could do. So, they could go to college right after they've gone to graduated from high school, they just become young adults. So I like just the transition. So it's another transition for your Sim to do. But I think closely behind that one would be City Living. Because that also just added so much to the game.
The apartments are so cool as well.
I loved it. I almost instinctively always go to the city to go live in an apartment when I'm in New World.
Same. I can't help it.
Because it's relatable. Like if you live in a city and you live in an apartment, it almost feels like you're just moving you're moving home.
Yeah.
It feels like home.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it is like that photo of that guy like looking at the hot girl and it's like all these expansions with these new neighborhoods and you're just like, nope, city.
Yeah. That makes you know all the way.
It's just like, I don't know. I always gravitate towards it. And I always start in like the sort of basic one where you're across the street from the social media guru girl.
Oh, yeah.
Always start off in that one. And then it depends on whether or not what career I choose, but either I try my best to get to the one, the really rich one across the street from the guy who's like across the apartment from the guy who's like really rich with the like platinum blonde hair.
Pink. Is it pink or blonde?
Oh, I can't remember. It might be.
It's one of them,
pink.
but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. You know, if you know, you know.
You know.
you know. Or I go to like the crazy one with like the babies with the high fertility rate, like all the way. I think where they have like the spice festival, or maybe it's the flea market. Either way. Yeah, no, I love that. I love the events as well.
Yeah, that I think, and that's what City Living brought to the game, isn't it? It brought the events, and which kind of bring all of the Sims who are just wandering around the world into one spot. So yeah, I do really like the events as well.
Even though sometimes I'm just like, no, I do not want to go to the Humor and Hijinks Festival and tell a bunch of
No,
jokes to
I
people.
just want to go to the Spice Festival. I don't want to go to the Love whatever festival.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Just leave me
3
alone.
a.m.
Give me a day's peace. I know. Oh, but so one final question, and it's about Sparked. I mean, Sparked was just, for me,
That's amazing.
it was so much fun to watch. I loved it so, and I loved how wholesome it was. There wasn't a lot of like the sort of traditional, it felt like sort of how Bake Off is, in the sense that like there wasn't really a toxic vibe there, you know?
Right. So Bake Off, but make it Sims.
Yeah, Bake Off, but make it Sims, which I loved about it. But one of the things that was interesting was the fact that they obviously chose roles for people to go in. And I wondered if you were to go on the show, like which role do you think you would gravitate towards, the stylist, the builder, or the storyline?
So I think my community would laugh at me if I said stylist, because I can spend easily like 4 hours in Create a Sim.
Yeah.
And I just don't think I'll have that time in the show.
Yeah, you have 45 minutes. What?
I have I would stress out about it. So I think for me, I would do storyline. I think I'm quite good at making up a really decent, solid storyline for Sims. So yeah, I think for me it'll be storyline, and then stylist coming up very closely behind, if given the time.
I mean, that was probably my biggest criticism of the show, is that like I felt like the challenges were unrealistic to how long it actually takes people in order to create things. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, I can't do that. Like the building ones, like how much detail they managed to put into their builds in such a short space of time. I was just like, oh my goodness.
Honestly, it couldn't be. I can barely build a house as it is.
I know.
And then to decorate it on top, oh no, that's another 6 hours. Like I just don't have. Give me the book. I will write exactly what's going to happen. But I need time.
yeah, I need time and coffee and a bagel and just love. Okay.
Exactly.
But I did love the challenge with the storyline where they had to like do the voiceover over they were like going through a house, and there was like a real estate agent, and you had to like give information on what was going on, like try to sell the house. I was like finding myself really invested in that challenge. Like, I want to do that.
They had some really, really good stories on there, though, I must say.
They did.
That's nice ones.
I loved Ex Mira Mira's one with the sort of like magic one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool.
I think my favorite was the winning one. So I think the final story, when it was kind of like the story of the girl.
Yeah, the story of her. Oh, that was so lovely.
It literally hit home, and it made me sob. So I was yeah, this is the one. This is the winner for me.
Yeah, 100%. And then the only other one that like one of the other ones that like spoke to me was the miners one, with Plumbella, like how it related to her family. Like there were so many good moments on that show, and I really hope they come back with another season. You know, like it
would be great.
I really want to. But yeah, I mean that's it from me, and I just thank you so much for coming on the show and gushing about The Sims and life and everything.
Problem. My favorite pastime, so I could do this all day.
Yep.
But no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
That's it for this episode of She Plays Games. Be sure to follow Ebonix on Twitter at Ebonix Sims. Special thanks again to our Patreon supporters: Also, if you want more episode of She Plays Games, please be sure to subscribe and follow me on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube by searching She Plays Games, and on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at She Plays Podcast. If you want to be on the show or want to nominate someone to come on the show, you can email me at sheplayspodcast@gmail.com. See you all next time on She Plays Games.